So that's elicitation. And with elicitation being so powerful for getting information, there's one thing I'd like you to see, and that is the 6-axis model. And the 6-axis model specifically indicates what we need to do to another person in order to get compliance from that person. And it looks like this. And as we look at this, all we're seeing here in this 6-axis model is internally on a psychological level. If you level up any three of these qualities, you will get compliance from the other person. So what we're doing is trying to read the person so that our conversation skills, our language, all is tailored to move these sliders to the right. And that's what we want to do. But there's one more besides these. But let's go through these definitions really quick. Vulnerability is openness, willing to share secrets or things that they're embarrassed about. Openness is how open their body stays while they're becoming vulnerable. So we can measure these things through nonverbal means. Connection is their connection to you, the operator, the person doing the persuasion technique. Suggestibility, this is their ability to accept and act on a suggestion that you make. Focus is how much this is an interesting definition, I think. This is my definition of it. Focus is how much exclusion they're applying to the outside world outside of this conversation. How much are they willing to ignore? And excitement is typically something we see towards the end of the interaction when we're building excitement before we start closing somebody. And we're doing that with a couple of techniques that we talked about yesterday. Now, a lot of the techniques to ramp these up are in our advanced persuasion class or our master class. But if you think about it, what did we do with elicitation? If we're going through all of these elicitation techniques, they're making them say things that they never say. They're making them open up completely. They're making them connect with us because we're expressing that altruism. They're making them more suggestible because they're in a completely new environment. They're making them completely focused on the conversation because we're shocked when we're hearing this new information. We're laughing when they're saying something funny. So we're leveling up a lot of these persuasion factors right here in that person's psychology. And all we need is 3 of these leveled up close to that finish line on the right. And we're leveling up like 4 to 5. But there's a 7th axis, and that happens outside of the person. And that 7th axis is novelty. And this is where I'll leave you guys for the session. Novelty creates focus, and focus is currency. Novelty creates focus, and focus is currency. Let's rewind 1,000,000 years. I want you to just envision yourself living in a tribe of 70 to 150 people, which is about the average size of tribes. And in this tribe, you go out every day to the same little area to go hunt, fish, collect berries, whatever you do. And at the end of the day, you take the same trail home every day, back to the village or this little area. And one day, there's a bush on the trail. You pass by that bush every day of your life. You're dragging a bunch of rabbits or fish behind you or a basket of berries. And you pass by this bush that you've seen every day of your life. And from behind the bush, a stick snaps. And you hear it. How much of your focus is on your family or your village? 0. You don't care about anything. The only thing that we're focused on now is that stick snapping behind that bush. And the people who lived 1,000,000 years ago who didn't care about that stick, they didn't have babies because they died. So all of our ancestors were able to go back to their village. They were able to run in time so they could come back to the village, they could have sex, and they could replicate and make new human beings. I'm willing to bet big time money that none of your ancestors died a virgin. Big money. So back to that stick, novelty manufactures focus. So if we think about just the elicitation techniques that we learned, everything there is a new experience. They're having a conversation unlike anything else they've ever had. They're sharing information they've never shared before. They're enjoying it more than they have in a long time. The conversation is instantly more memorable, but there is a massive amount of novelty that we're generating in that environment. Novelty manufactures focus. So I want you to think of novelty as the seventh invisible axis. There's something here that hasn't happened before. Novelty breaks our script. We're running scripts all throughout our life. In our advanced persuasion course, I teach you how to spot exactly what script a person's running, how to hack it and then break it. But that's basically what that stick is doing. We're walking down the pathway, the stick breaks behind the bush, and we pay immediate attention to it. Anything that's different than we've experienced before, our brain pays attention. So this is new. I'm going to pay more attention to this because it's a new behavior. It's a new experience. So just using the elicitation techniques, we're leveling up so much of persuasion and influence. But like I said, if we know how to listen, we know how to look for behaviors. We know how to listen between the lines, which we're going to cover in the next section. Now, not only are we leveling up all of these 6 axes of persuasion and influence, but now we're getting them to reveal so much information. And it's not just the information we're getting the behavioral cues from that information. So we're getting what lowers the blink rate, what increases it, what causes digital flexion or extension, what causes chest versus abdominal breathing. We're getting all of the fabulous behavioral indicators so that we're getting a behavioral profile on this person. Subjects, words, lines, everything that they need to hear. And we're already leveling up on a persuasion scale to maximum level. And we're not even 6 minutes into the conversation. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.